All right, let's talk about one of those classic exam problems. You know the one. It looks super intimidating, right? But what if I told you the entire solution is built on just one simple, powerful geometric idea? That's what we're going to do today. We're going to break down how to find the equation of a tangent, step by step, so you can absolutely nail it every time. So really, this is the core question we're trying to answer. How in the world do you find the equation of a line that only touches a circle at one single point? Well, that special line has a name. It's called a tangent. And its secret relationship with the circle's radius, well, that's the key that unlocks the whole thing. Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we'll cover what a tangent actually is. Then, we'll get to that perpendicular secret I mentioned. After that, we'll build a master method you can always rely on. And finally, we'll solve a classic problem and even tackle a tricky version where the center is hidden. All right, let's get right into it. What exactly is a tangent? I mean, it's not just any old line that's hanging out near a circle. It's way more specific than that. It's a straight line that just grazes the edge, touching the circumference at only one single specific point. Yeah, think of it like this. You have another type of line called a secant, and that one slices right through, hitting 2 points. But a tangent, it just kisses the edge. It makes contact at that one spot and then moves on. And that spot, that single point of contact, is absolutely everything for what we're about to do. Okay, now for the aha moment. This is the golden rule, the one piece of information that unlocks this entire topic. There's a geometric law that makes every single one of these problems totally solvable. It's all about the special connection between the tangent and the radius. And trust me, this is something you're going to want to remember. And this is it. This is the golden rule. A tangent to a circle is always perpendicular to the radius at the point of contact. So that line you draw from the center out to where the tangent touches, it forms a perfect 90-degree angle, a right angle. And that little fact is the secret we're going to exploit, because in the world of algebra, perpendicular lines give us an incredible shortcut. So the big question is, how do we translate that geometry into algebra? Well, it's all about the gradient, or the slope. There's a fantastic rule that says if two lines are perpendicular, the product of their gradients is always -1. And that little equation, that's our main tool. That's what's going to do all the heavy lifting for us. Okay, so now that we have our secret weapon, let's build it into a reliable, step-by-step method. A foolproof recipe, really. We can take this one rule and use it to break down any tangent problem into 5 simple, clear steps that will always work.
And here they are. Step 1, find the circle's center. Step 2, calculate the gradient of the radius. Step 3, use our perpendicular rule to find the gradient of the tangent. Step 4, sub in the point to find C. And finally, step 5, write the full equation. Seriously, this is your checklist. No matter how weird the numbers look, the process is always the same.
Now for step 3, I've got a little trick to make your life way easier. It's called flip and switch. Instead of doing a bunch of algebra to find the perpendicular gradient, you just take the radius gradient, say 3/4, you flip the fraction upside down to get 4/3, and then you switch the sign. So positive becomes negative. It's that easy. Swap the number, swap the sign. All right, enough theory. It's time to put our method to the test. Let's get our hands dirty with a classic exam-style problem and walk through it together, step by step. Okay, here's our setup. The problem tells us to find the equation of the tangent to a circle. The center, C, is at -2, 1, and the point of contact, A, is at 2, 4. Now, this is awesome news, because they've handed us the center on a silver platter. Step 1 on our checklist, already done. We can jump right into step 2. So, step 2, we need the gradient of the radius. Remember, that's just the line connecting our center, C, and our point of contact, A. We just use the good old change in y over change in x formula. So that's 4 minus 1 on top and 2 minus -2 on the bottom. That gives us 3/4. Easy enough. And now, step 3, where we use our cool little trick, the gradient of the tangent. We just flip and switch the radius gradient. So 3/4 gets flipped to 4/3. And since it was positive, we switch it to negative. Boom! The gradient of our tangent is -4/3. All right, we're on the home stretch, steps 4 and 5. We know our tangent is a straight line, so its equation is y equals mx plus c. We just found our m, it's -4/3. Now to find c, we just plug in the one point we know is on that line, the point of contact, 2, 4. A little bit of algebra later, we find that c is 20/3. And there it is. We write out our final equation, y equals -4/3 x plus 20 over 3. Done. Okay, that was pretty straightforward, but what happens when the exam question tries to be a little sneaky? What if they give you the equation of the circle, but they hide the center? Don't panic. It just means there's one little extra step we have to do at the very beginning. Right, so circle equations usually come in two flavors. On the left, you've got the standard form. This is the nice one, because you can just look at it and read the center's coordinates right out of the equation. But on the right, you have the general form, which looks like a bit of a jumbled mess. Our entire goal here is to take that messy version and rearrange it back into the nice, tidy standard form. And the technique for that is called completing the square. Now, it sounds a little fancy, but all we're really doing is some clever rearranging. We group the x terms together, group the y terms together, and then we add a magic number to each group to turn them into these perfect factorable expressions. Once we do that, we're back in the standard form we love, and we can see the center clear as day. And here's what that process looks like. We start with that messy general form, we do our grouping, add 9 to the x group and 1 to the y group, and when we factor it down, we get this beautiful standard form. And poof! Just like that, the center is revealed to be at -3, 1. From this point on, you just go back to step 2 of our master method. It's the exact same process. So when it all comes down to it, what's the key takeaway here? It's that everything, all the algebra, all 5 steps of our method, it all boils down to that one simple geometric rule. The radius is perpendicular to the tangent. If you understand that one relationship, you hold the key to solving any of these problems. It's the foundation for the entire thing. And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. Today, we've totally mastered the relationship between a line and a circle. But what happens when you have two different circles? How could you use what you now know about centers and contact points to figure out if and even where those two circles might touch each other? Something to think about. Thanks for joining.